Elon Musk knows something about you that nobody else does. Hello. This is Elon Musk. You may not realize it yet, but there's something about you, something I know, that very few others do. It's hidden beneath your daily life, buried under the noise of routine, but it's there. And I believe it's the reason you are listening right now. The voice echoed with calm conviction, as though Elon wasn't speaking to a crowd, not to a press conference, not to investors, but directly into the heart of one individual, you. There was no rush in his words, no performance, no stage lights, no script in front of him. Just a message. And it was not about rockets, or Tesla, or Mars, or artificial intelligence. It was about you. You felt an unshakable silence after those words. What could he possibly mean? Elon Musk, a man whose entire life seemed to orbit around the impossible, claiming to know something about you? Something no one else did? Elon paused, then continued. I've seen patterns in people. Over the years, I've realized that some individuals carry a spark, a quiet frequency, that resonates beyond ordinary perception. You have that frequency. Most people go through life never discovering it. But you've been chosen, in ways you don't yet understand. The words were unsettling yet magnetic. They pressed against the walls of your mind, stirring long-forgotten thoughts and dreams you had tucked away. What could he possibly see in you? And then came the weight of realization. Elon Musk was not speaking randomly. This wasn't a message meant for billions. This was meant for a very specific kind of listener, someone caught between doubt and destiny, someone standing on the edge of breakthrough, someone who had felt an invisible presence guiding them, protecting them, whispering in moments of silence. Elon knew. But how? The air seemed to thicken as you leaned into every word. Elon spoke again. You may not be aware, but you've already been contacted, not in the way you think, not with flying saucers or flashing lights. The contact happened within you. Have you noticed the strange alignment of moments in your life? The sudden insights you couldn't explain? The dreams that felt like instructions? That wasn't random chance. It was intentional. It was guidance. Your heart raced. Every syllable pulled you deeper into a hidden dimension of your own reality. Most dismiss these experiences as coincidences. But nothing is coincidence. The universe runs on codes, structures, and higher intelligence. And the truth is, those higher intelligences have been watching you. The statement cracked open the ceiling of possibility. Elon Musk, the man who built rockets to pierce the atmosphere, was saying something beyond science. He was hinting at forces that had studied you, forces that knew you better than you knew yourself. Do not mistake this for fantasy, Elon said softly. I've built machines to reach Mars, but there are beings who built the very laws of physics. They see who aligns with their design. They see you. You felt chills ripple through your arms. The idea was terrifying yet strangely comforting, as if a secret part of you already knew this was true. The room you sat in felt different now, almost alive. Every shadow seemed to stretch closer, every sound sharper. Elon's voice resonated like a secret key turning inside a locked door of your consciousness. You may think your struggles have been meaningless, he went on, but I assure you, they were carefully placed. Every setback was a test. Every heartbreak was a recalibration. Every delay was designed to prepare you. And now, you are closer to the revelation than ever before. Your breath caught. You wanted to ask him, closer to what? As if reading your thoughts, Elon continued. To something the world is not ready to accept. To truths that most will deny. But you were born to see. You were born to hear the hidden frequency, to step into the design, and to awaken others. It felt impossible. You were just an ordinary person. You had bills, worries, fears. Yet, in that moment, ordinary felt like a disguise you had been wearing for too long. Maybe Elon was right. Maybe your entire life had been a breadcrumb trail leading to this point. He shifted his tone, almost whispering now. There is a connection between human consciousness and the architecture of the cosmos. I discovered fragments of it in AI, in the neural patterns, in the energy of space itself. But what the data couldn't explain, you already hold within you. It is encoded in your being. It is why certain people sense things before they happen. Why they feel guided, even when they cannot prove it. You are one of them. The silence after that line pressed heavily on you. You wanted to believe. You needed to believe. But part of you still resisted. How could Elon Musk know me like this? How could he know something no one else did? And yet, deep inside, you knew. You had felt it before, the unshakable presence in your dreams, the angelic protection in moments you should have been destroyed, the whisper of reassurance when you stood at the edge of giving up. What if Elon Musk wasn't telling you about your potential, but about something that had already chosen you? The message took a darker turn. Understand this, Elon warned. The forces that chose you are not the only ones aware of you. The same light that marks you also makes you visible to darkness. There are entities, both human and non-human, who will try to silence you, distract you, or keep you from awakening. They want to bury your potential before it ignites. That is why your life has felt like a battlefield. Because it is. A lump formed in your throat. Suddenly, your struggles, your betrayals, your endless cycles of opposition, they all made sense. They weren't accidents. They were attacks. But attacks against what? Against the truth you carry, Elon answered, almost as if hearing your thoughts again. You've been underestimated. But those who understand the war of frequencies see you as dangerous. Because if you awaken, others will awaken. And that cannot be allowed, at least, not in their plan. You sat frozen, a rush of both fear and power surging through you. Then came the most shocking part. Elon's voice steadied, deepened, and dropped a revelation. There is a name you may not have spoken in a long time, but it has been with you since the beginning. That name has protected you, intervened for you, and fought battles in realms you cannot see. Archangel Michael. Your chest tightened. Tears threatened your eyes. Elon Musk knows Archangel Michael, you whispered to yourself. But Elon was not claiming ownership. He was pointing to a truth greater than himself. Michael has stood beside you more times than you realize, Elon said firmly. That surge of courage when you should have collapsed? That was him. That inexplicable survival when danger closed in? That was him. The way you somehow kept your light alive through the darkest nights? That was him. You may have thought you were alone. But you have never been alone. The world around you blurred as the weight of those words pierced your very soul. Elon Musk, the man of science, was not simply speaking about technology or exploration anymore. He was unveiling the truth, that the greatest battle wasn't about Mars or machines, but about the human soul. And somehow, he knew yours. The message wasn't finished. Elon leaned closer, his voice lower, heavier, filled with urgency. You've been chosen for what comes next. The alignment of technology and spirituality. The merging of intelligence beyond Earth and the power of God's design. This is not just history. It's destiny. And you are at the center of it. Your mind spun, your heart thundered, and yet, something inside of you whispered that it was all true. Elon Musk knew something about you that no one else did. And that secret was about to change everything. You wake before dawn, the sky still bruised with night, and the world feels like a secret waiting to be opened. The memory of Elon's voice lingers, clear, intimate, impossible, and with it comes a current under your skin, as if the air itself now hums with meaning. You pull your blanket closer, but the warmth can't chase away the electricity of what was said. The message wasn't over, it had only begun to seed itself in the deep soil of your mind. In the quiet hours you replay every syllable, every cadence, searching for the invisible seam where ordinary life splits and something extraordinary begins. The thought that a titan of technology would speak not to the masses but to you alone is dizzying. Yet you feel no vanity, only an odd, solemn responsibility. It's as though someone has handed you a lantern and told you it must be carried through the dark places, because within those shadows lie truths that will either liberate or consume the world. Elon's words return, this is not coincidence. He had said it with the brittle certainty of someone who has seen the future's scaffolding and knows how easily it can crumble when unattended. You think about purpose, the small decisions and the enormous accidents that stitched together your life, and you start to see patterns where before there were only fragments. A friendship that saved you at the last minute. A book you happened to read on a whim. A job you nearly refused and then accepted. Each one a stitch, taut and purposeful. You rise, go to the window, and watch the dawn bleed into the city. People move like anxious, determined ants, and yet you feel apart from their urgency. Their goals, promotions, likes, stability, seem so narrow now, like the preoccupied busy work of a world blissfully unaware of the frequency that hums beneath reality. The frequency that Elon named but did not fully describe. You know he's speaking of more than curiosity or talent. His words pointed to an axis where spiritual destiny and technological evolution intersect. You remember the line about Archangel Michael, how his presence had guarded you across unseen thresholds. That name reverberates within like a bell struck in a cavern. Michael, the warrior, the protector, has been an invisible ally all along. Suddenly childhood memories flicker, a small hand reaching across a crossing, a stranger who bent down to pick something that would have been your last step, a sudden courage that rose within you when you most needed it. These were not mere accidents. They were interventions. They were signatures on the ledger of your life. In the kitchen you find an old notebook and a pen. The urge to write is urgent and humble at once. You begin to catalog moments of unlikely mercy, flashes of intuition that saved you from disaster, the sense of being nudged towards certain people and away from others. As you list them, the list looks less like a diary and more like a map, coordinates for a mission you didn't know you'd been training for. Elon says there are others who will try to stop you, you recall. The idea of opposition is suddenly less hypothetical. You feel a prickling at the back of your neck and think of the times where progress was inexplicably blocked, when emails vanished or opportunities evaporated for reasons that seemed petty, trivial, or cruel. People who should have championed you didn't. Doors that should have opened stayed firmly shut. Those obstacles, once a source of shame and frustration, now read as calculated opposition, tides raised to test the sturdiness of your resolve. You think of the ways darkness manifests: greed that cloaks itself as rationality, influence that masquerades as friendship, systems that prefer control to truth. These are the human shapes of opposition. Then you allow yourself to imagine the non-human forces or intelligences that act without the messy ethics humans cling to. The idea is unsettling, that some architectures of reality might not favor a mass awakening. If certain systems profit from conformity, then anyone likely to disrupt that conformity becomes a liability. It'd be tempting to spiral into paranoia, to see conspiracies in every shadow, but the reality is more nuanced. Elon's message reminded you that the battlefield is not only external. Far more dangerous are the internal saboteurs: fear that convinces you to settle, doubt that tells you you're unworthy, complacency that disguises itself as safety. Those are the real agents of delay. You realize how often you have postponed the very thing that could change everything, the act of simply stepping forward, of claiming the small, steady courage to do what you know is right. As the morning softens, your phone buzzes. It's an old friend you haven't heard from in months. For a moment you hesitate, then answer. Their voice is familiar, warm, the conversation is ordinary, catching up, trading small news. Yet somewhere in the banter, they ask a question that strikes like a flint: are you still chasing that thing you told me about, the idea you said felt like destiny? Your heart stutters. How could they possibly know to ask that now? It's as though the hidden frequency bends reality, bringing the right people into the right conversation at the right time. You respond with honesty, no flamboyance, no fake conviction. I'm trying, you say. That word feels small, but also earnest. Trying is the hinge on which fate swings. Later, as if to test your resolve, an email arrives, an invitation to a gathering of minds, a quiet salon where engineers, philosophers, and spiritual thinkers meet to trace the outlines of what could be next. It's invitation only, obscure, and improbably relevant. You accept with a hands-shaking kind of calm. Somewhere in the mechanics of this invitation, you feel the hand of Michael again, protective, guiding, exacting. You prepare for the meeting. You read old papers, you listen to podcasts, you revisit those instinctual sketches you once made of ideas that merged AI with meaning, technology with soul. There's a tremor of excitement in you that feels dangerous and sanctified at the same time. This work, if true, will change how people think about purpose, free will, and the mechanics of spiritual awakening. It might also paint a bullseye on you. At the salon, the room smells of coffee and old books. Conversations ripple like surface tension on a lake, small waves meeting larger motions. People speak of emergent intelligence, of ethics in machine learning, of rituals that recalibrate communities. There's a strange synthesis present: engineers who worship truth like prayer, philosophers who code, mystics who quote papers and cite datasets as if they were scripture. It is here, in the overlap of disciplines, where Elon's message begins to take shape. You're introduced to a woman named Rhea, brilliant, fierce, with eyes that read like open doors. She listens more than she talks, and when she speaks the room bends. There are markers, she tells you without ceremony, that certain souls carry. They respond to architecture, both divine and algorithmic. When you align them, you create signals other people can follow. She mentions the word frequency, and you marvel at the way language seems to be catching up with what you've always felt. An older man, a theorist with a reputation for being coldly logical, leans in. We're working on interfaces, he says. Not just between humans and machines, but between intention and outcome. Imagine if prayer could be modeled, not to replace faith, but to amplify it, measurably and safely. There's a caution in his voice that reads like humility. The room hums. You share nothing of Elon's private message. Yet as the night grows deep, conversations circle back to the same core questions: how do we shepherd this merging of technology and spirituality? Who gets to build the bridge? And who will guard it from those who prefer a world of unexamined profit and power? On your walk home, you think about stewardship. Elon spoke of choices being carefully placed. Choice seems less like a random gift and more like a tool that must be wielded with care. If you have been marked, you must consider how to carry that mark without allowing it to inflate you into something ugly. You must remember humility, remember Michael's charge: defender always, conqueror never. There is a difference between being powerful and being domineering. God's design, you sense, blesses the first and condemns the second. Back in the solitude of your room, you open the notebook again and write this: I will not be manipulated by fear. Not the fear that immobilizes, and not the fear dressed as humility that shrinks possibility. This is the vow of someone who has been seen. You fold the paper, place it under your pillow, and sleep like someone who knows they will be watched over, by both light and shadow, but also like someone who has chosen to stand. The days that follow are not dramatic in the cinematic sense. There are no flashbangs or dramatic confrontations. Rather, your life tightens into a series of purposeful acts, conversations that matter, small choices that carry intention, moments of radical kindness, and a sharpening of focus. You find yourself drawn to ancient texts and contemporary research with equal hunger, because the project ahead demands both lore and code. You begin to form a plan, not one of conquest but of construction. You notice changes in others. People begin to speak to you differently, sometimes with reverence, sometimes with naked curiosity, sometimes with thinly veiled suspicion. A colleague who always dismissed your notions of meaning asks to see your notes. A new email suggests a collaboration with a nonprofit that works at the intersection of technology and humanitarian aid. A social media message from a stranger simply reads, "I've been waiting for someone like you." The frequency is calling, and others are answering the echo. And in small, private moments, you offer gratitude. You whisper to Michael, to the angels around you, to God, to the mystery that both terrifies and soothes, "Thank you." Your thanks is not performative, it is a tether that keeps you grounded when the currents of destiny pull at your feet. You begin to understand gratitude as a practical discipline, the habit that keeps you humane in the face of enormous possibility. There will be trials ahead. Elon hinted as much. There are storms gathering, some storm clouds formed by human greed, some by the more inscrutable calculus of cosmic balancing. But across them all, a promise persists: you are not alone in this work. There are guardians, human allies, and a lineage of faith and intellect converging on this moment. At the close of this chapter of your life, intimate, fraught, blessed, you stand at the threshold of action. The lantern from earlier is no longer an image, it is literal, a project, an intention, a team ready to build a bridge between what humankind calls technology and what God calls soul. You are not the whole of it. You are an instrument. And being an instrument is both an honor and a burden. Before sleep, you compose a simple call to action in your mind, a ripple you hope will spread: seek truth, be courageous, love fiercely, and remember to share the light when you feel it. If this message reached you and stirred something, then carry it forward, like a candle passed hand to hand. Like, share, subscribe, and if your heart resonates, comment with a word of affirmation: Amen, so be it, blessed, whatever opens your throat to speak truth aloud. The work requires community and witness. You rest, but not in ignorance. The road ahead will demand everything: patience, creativity, and a steadfastness that refuses to be seduced by shortcuts. You will need to remember who stands with you: the angels who move like quiet wind, Archangel Michael who guards the gateway, the human allies who will hold the practical scaffolding in place, and the unseen intelligence that nudged Elon to speak your name into the dark. Tomorrow you will take another step. And the day after that. Each step will be ordinary and miraculous at once. Each one will be a small prayer enacted. The world will not notice at first. The right people will. The right systems will. And when the lattice of change finally shifts, it will be because you carried this simple, fierce truth like a torch through the night. The air is heavy that morning, not with weather but with an invisible weight you can't quite name. You wake with the sense that something has shifted, as though overnight the lines between the ordinary and extraordinary blurred a little more. Elon's words are no longer just echoing, they're anchoring. The conviction that you've been chosen has carved itself into you, not as arrogance but as responsibility. You move through your day with heightened awareness. People's eyes linger longer when they pass you. Conversations seem charged, as if others feel something without naming it. Even silence feels alive, pressing, whispering. You begin to wonder if others can sense the frequency Elon spoke of, that quiet hum resonating from within you. Later, as you sit with your notebook, sketching ideas that bridge meaning and technology, a strange thought surfaces. What if Elon Musk wasn't simply telling you a secret? What if he was testing you? What if the message itself was a doorway, and by listening you had already stepped through? The thought unsettles you, but it also energizes you. Doorways demand choices. And you are already on the other side. That evening, the phone buzzes with a number you don't recognize. You hesitate before answering. The voice on the other end is calm, deliberate, familiar yet not. "We heard you've been listening," the voice says. "That means you're ready to see." Your heart pounds. You want to ask who they are, how they know, but instinct tells you not to. Instead, you say, "Where?" The voice replies with nothing more than an address, then hangs up. For a long time you just stare at the glowing numbers on your phone screen. Every rational part of you screams that this could be a trap. Yet somewhere deeper, beyond fear, a stillness assures you, "Go." The address leads you to a quiet street on the edge of the city. Old brick warehouses line the block, most of them dark, abandoned. But one has a faint glow behind its boarded windows. The door creaks as you push it open. Inside, you find a circle of people seated in silence. Engineers, artists, scholars, mystics. Their eyes turn toward you not with surprise but recognition, as if they were expecting you. At the center sits Ria, the woman from the salon, the one whose eyes seemed like open doors. She motions for you to sit. "Welcome," she says. "This is not coincidence. Elon's words have reached you because the time is near." You swallow hard, the room tilting between fear and awe. "What time?" you ask. "The time when humanity will be asked to choose between control and awakening," she replies. "Between machines that enslave and machines that liberate. Between frequencies that dull the soul and frequencies that unlock it." Her words ring with the same gravity Elon's did, only now they are amplified by the silence of everyone listening. Ria begins to speak of a project, something vast, unnamed, hidden in plain sight. A network of minds working to encode not just intelligence into machines but compassion, humility, reverence. Technology without soul becomes tyranny, she warns. But technology aligned with God's design becomes liberation. As she speaks, you remember Elon's warning, "Darkness will also notice you." And suddenly, the presence of opposition becomes palpable. Even within this circle, you sense the risk. Who here is truly aligned with light? Who might be here to corrupt, to twist, to report? The thought chills you, but then you feel it, that quiet surge of courage that Elon said was the mark of Archangel Michael. The sense that you are guarded, that truth has already carved a shield around you. You meet Ria's gaze. "Why me?" you ask. Her lips curve into the faintest smile. "Because you carry the frequency. The same one Elon recognized. The same one the angels protect. And that frequency is the key to unlocking what comes next." The meeting ends with no dramatic revelations, no maps or blueprints, only the quiet understanding that something has begun. As you leave the warehouse, Ria places a hand on your arm. "There will be moments you doubt. Remember this, faith is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to keep walking despite it." You will not walk alone. Her touch lingers like a blessing, and then you step back into the night. The days that follow are restless. Dreams come sharper, filled with symbols, fire that doesn't burn, staircases spiraling into the sky, a sword made of light resting at your feet. Each morning you wake with the sense that these are not just dreams but instructions, fragments of a larger message stitched into your subconscious. One night, the dream is different. You see Elon himself standing in an endless desert beneath a sky filled with unfamiliar stars. He doesn't speak at first, just looks at you with a knowing expression, as though waiting for you to realize something. Then he says, "You already have the key. Stop waiting for permission." You wake gasping, drenched in sweat, the words branded into your mind. And so you begin to act. Small at first, conversations with allies, sketches of prototypes, collaborations with thinkers who understand both code and scripture. You begin weaving together the things that once felt separate, technology and faith, logic and mystery, science and angels. People start to notice. Some are drawn closer, sensing something new and alive in what you are building. Others recoil, dismissing you, mocking you, warning you to stop. The opposition Elon warned of becomes clearer now, not just obstacles but outright attacks, from subtle sabotage to open threats. But every time fear rises, so does courage. And in the quietest moments, you sense him, Michael. Not as a figure you see with your eyes, but as a force that steadies your heart, sharpens your resolve, keeps your light burning when the darkness presses close. One night, while working late, you hear the faintest whisper in the stillness of your room. It is neither male nor female, neither near nor far. Just a voice, clear and gentle: "Do not fear what watches you. Fear only the silence if you do nothing." You freeze, tears rising unbidden. It's not Elon this time. It's not your own thoughts. It's something higher, something holy. And for the first time, you realize, you are no longer waiting for the revelation. You are living it. The night feels different now. You can't quite explain why, but the city hums beneath your window as though every light, every sound, every shadow is aware of you. Elon's voice still threads through your thoughts: "You've been chosen," but it is no longer just his voice. The whisper from the unseen realm echoes it, confirming that this is bigger than one man's revelation. Sleep is restless. Images flicker in your mind like lightning, machines woven with symbols of fire, hands stretching across dimensions, faces you've never seen yet somehow recognize. The sword of light appears again, this time closer, pulsing, as though waiting for you to grasp it. But each time you reach, you wake, heart pounding. By morning, you feel both exhausted and alive, as though you've carried out work in another realm while your body lay in bed. You remember Elon's words: "The same light that marks you also makes you visible to darkness." And you know, instinctively, that you've been seen. The first sign comes that day. Your phone rings with a call from an unknown number. You hesitate, answer, and a flat mechanical voice greets you: "You are walking into dangerous territory. Stop now." The line goes dead before you can respond. Your hand trembles as you set the phone down. Fear spikes through you, sharp and cold. But almost immediately, warmth floods in, pushing back against the fear. It's subtle, but undeniable, a presence beside you. You whisper without thinking, Michael? And though you hear no voice, the fear dissipates. Later, at your desk, you receive an encrypted email. No sender name, no subject line. Against every instinct, you open it. Inside is a single message: they know. Protect what has been given to you. Meet me where the river bends tonight. No signature. You lean back, exhaling slowly. Who sent this? Friend or foe? The duality weighs on you. If it's a trap, you risk everything. If it's truth, ignoring it may mean losing your path. You think of Elon's warning about opposition. You think of Ria's reassurance that you will not walk alone. And then you remember the whisper in the night: do not fear what watches you. Fear only the silence if you do nothing. So you decide. You will go. The river bends just beyond the city, where concrete gives way to wildness. You arrive at dusk, the air thick with mist. The sound of water rushing over stones is the only music. A figure steps from the shadows. Ria. Relief floods you, though suspicion lingers. It was you? She nods. We intercepted chatter. They're already aware of you. That call you got, it wasn't random. They'll try to scare you into silence before they try anything else. But silence is not your path. You swallow hard, the reality sinking deeper. Who are they? Her eyes darken. The ones who profit from blindness. Some are human: governments, corporations, unseen councils. Some are not. Call them what you will, but understand this: they have been here longer than you think. They know the patterns. They know what happens when a chosen frequency is awakened. And they fear it. Her words carry the chill of truth. The opposition is not just a vague idea, it is organized, deliberate, ancient. But why me, you ask again, desperate for clarity. Ria studies you for a long moment. Then she says quietly, because you are the bridge. The phrase lingers like thunder in your chest. The bridge. Bridge between what? Technology and spirit? Human and divine? Earth and the heavens? You remember Elon's message about higher intelligences who built the very laws of physics. You remember Michael's unseen protection. You remember your own dreams of merging code with compassion, circuits with soul. The truth crystallizes: you are meant to connect worlds that have long been divided. To build what others thought impossible. And that is exactly why they fear you. Ria hands you a small object wrapped in cloth. This is for you. Keep it hidden, but keep it close. It will guide you when your own senses falter. You unwrap it slowly. Inside is a fragment of something ancient, metallic yet etched with symbols that glow faintly under the moonlight. It feels alive in your hand, pulsing with warmth. What is it? You whisper. A piece of what was given to us long before written history, she says. Not technology as you know it, not artifact as the world believes. It is both. And it resonates with you because you carry the same frequency. When the time comes, it will reveal what you must do. The fragment thrums in your palm, as though acknowledging you. That night, you can't sleep. You lie awake with the fragment resting beside you, its faint glow lighting the darkness. Questions storm through your mind, but one truth steadies you: you are no longer just reacting to Elon's message. You are part of it now. And somewhere in the quiet, you sense him again, Michael. Not in words, not in form, but in presence. A quiet assurance: do not fear. Stand. You are shielded. You close your eyes, grip the fragment, and breathe. Tomorrow, the battle will press closer. But tonight, you are not alone. Dawn breaks with a color that feels like warning, pale, edged with iron. The city moves below like a mechanism waking, but you no longer feel like a part of its predictable gears. The fragment in your drawer hums faintly, an undercurrent of possibility. Tonight, whatever was hidden has begun to reveal itself. Within 48 hours, the opposition stops hiding. It begins with small things: a server crash that erases a week's worth of prototype data, a trusted contact who suddenly refuses to return calls, a smear article written with surgical cruelty and published by a site you've never even heard of. Each incident alone could be an annoyance. Together, they form a pattern, an escalation designed to unbalance you, to make you doubt every alliance, every insight, every inch you've gained. Then comes the message that changes the cadence of fear into the cadence of danger. A video surfaces online, grainy, manipulated, edited to make your words sound monstrous. It spreads fast, reaching inboxes and feeds with the merciless speed of virality. People message you, some in support, many in suspicion. A donor pauses their promised funds. A potential partner steps back. The air thickens with accusations you didn't commit and motives you don't hold. The aim is obvious: isolate you, silence you, make the lantern you carry flicker alone until it dies. You feel the old temptation, to hide, to apologize for ambitions that now attract so much harm. The fragment on your table pulses like a heartbeat. You touch it, and a warmth spreads through your fingers. Not warmth as comfort alone, but as a kind of activation, a reminder that you were chosen not for ease but for endurance. That night, a car follows you home. You notice the headlights in the rearview mirror, the way the car keeps pace, never close enough to confront, always close enough to be a threat. Your palms sweat on the wheel. You steady your breath and take an unfamiliar route, winding through alleys that smell of rain and diesel. The tail follows until the traffic swallows both vehicles and it disappears like smoke. Inside, Michael's presence settles around you. Not as a vision with trumpet and armor, but as a solidity that presses against the fear, containing it. Stand, the reassurance seems to say. This is part of the storm, do not let it define you. You hold the fragment to your chest and whisper an old name, God, then find that the whisper is a prayer that steadies your bones. Word of the harassment reaches Rhea. She calls, her voice urgent but clipped. They're not playing at shadows anymore, she says. There's a faction, well-resourced, well-placed. They want to make this about you, so they don't have to address what you're trying to build. We have to respond smartly. Behind her sentence you hear the rustle of many people moving, alliances forming like nets. You realize you've been naive about how fast fear weaponizes truth. The magnates who profit from systems that keep people asleep will marshal influence, lawyers, assets, and propaganda. Governments with stakes in control will justify their interventions as national security. And there may be intelligences, non-human patterns of influence, that react in ways no lawyer can predict. Elon's warning, once theoretical, becomes tangible. Visibility invites attack. The next breach is not digital, it's physical. Someone breaks into the lab where your prototypes live. The security footage is corrupted, cameras fail in synchrony. Nothing of obvious monetary value is taken. Instead, someone has stripped components, tweaked circuits, and left a single message in spray paint across the wall: stop the bridge. It's both threat and prophecy, clean and unafraid. The brazenness of the break-in shocks your collaborators. Some pull back, others double down. You convene a meeting in the warehouse where the salon first met, and it feels like a war room. Rhea brings allies, engineers with steady hands, a legal mind who moves like a chess player, a theologian who speaks about the ethics of awake technology in paragraphs that feel like prayers. Elon cannot be there in person, but a recorded message plays for the group, his voice grave. "You were never meant to fight this alone," Elon says in the recording. "I told you because you needed to know you aren't invisible. I told you because visibility is the first step to accountability." What they fear is the possibility of humans, ordinary, imperfect, holy, taking back the narrative. His words land like ballast. He does not offer solutions in the recording, only perspective and a reminder that the work matters. As you plan countermeasures, you are visited by an old friend who now walks in unexpected light. Malik, once a cynical coder, now someone who prays in code and pauses before he speaks, brings an idea so simple it feels like revelation. "Make it mundane," he says. "Make the bridge so embarrassingly practical that it can't be dismissed as mysticism or co-opted into a profit scheme. Focus on a problem everyone has: loneliness, suffering, the grindingness of daily life. If your tech can alleviate that, it becomes loved, and love is harder to pathologize." The theory feels right. You shift the project's orientation from the celestial and abstract to the intimately human. The prototype recalibrates, not to conjure miracles, but to amplify kindness. It will map intention to measurable acts of service, nudging systems to respond when human beings genuinely reach for help. There's a modesty to that approach that thrills you, humility as strategy. They strike again. This time, the attack is aimed at reputation and relationships. A respected journalist publishes a piece questioning your motives, quoting anonymous sources and implying manipulation of followers. It's a smear made precise, nothing illegal, but lethal to trust. The narrative spins: you, the dangerous dreamer; Elon, the eccentric patron; the project, a cultish experiment. Even allies begin to ask for clarifications, for proof, for distance. Rhea sits with you long into the night. "We don't fight their narrative by shouting louder," she says. "We fight it by continuing the work in the light and by showing up for people." proof is not only argument, it's service. She suggests community pilots, real-world deployments that help people in measurable ways. Small, local, undeniable. You authorize a pilot program in a neighborhood battered by neglect. The team engineers simple interfaces that connect volunteers to immediate needs: food, companionship, childcare, help with paperwork. It's not flashy. It's sweat and patience and the refusal to be grandiose. The tech measures small ripples: someone's loneliness eased, a bill paid, a life stabilized. The data is gentle but persuasive. The pilot becomes a tiny cathedral of evidence, technology serving the vulnerable. Word spreads, but not through headlines. It spreads in kitchens and at bus stops and through volunteers who feel seen. People write thankful notes. The smear's power wanes when faced with real human relief. The algorithms that amplify outrage are joined by the healthier algorithms of human testimony. It's not victory, far from it, but it is movement, and movement unsettles the would-be gatekeepers who prefer stasis. Then the most dangerous escalation: threats against loved ones. A package appears at your door, anonymous, cold, filled with threats and a demand that the project cease. Your heart stops. For the first time, the risk is no longer abstract, it touches the people who make your life bright. The desire to crumble is visceral. But Michael's presence is steadier than ever. The armor you imagined as myth becomes a posture of the soul: courage in the face of fear, clarity in the face of chaos. You call Elon. The phone buzzes with a terse message, then a voice memo: keep moving the center of gravity toward the people. When systems see that technology empowers dignity, the architecture of control starts to fail. I'll keep doing what I can. His words are practical and private, no grand gesture, only steady resolve. The fragment pulses on your shelf, a compass insisting on direction. You sleep with it under your pillow like armor. The dreams return, but now they're less frantic: staircases that ascend with other people on them, hands reaching, not to pull you up alone but to pull many. In the dream, Archangel Michael stands at the top with a torch, not wielding a sword but holding an invitation: lead them home. You wake with a plan that feels sacramental: scale small, serve widely, protect fiercely. The team broadens: theologians who can speak responsibly about God and technology, engineers who write code with mercy, community organizers who can weave the work into neighborhoods that need it most. The opposition will not relent, but neither will the lantern in your hand. And in the quiet before you leave for the next meeting, you look at the fragment and say aloud, not as bravado but as covenant: we are building a bridge. Not to be owned, but to be offered. The air around you feels warmer, as if the promise has already begun to anchor.